You wanna see what we do best? We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight to make something good tonight. We're all in the kitchen, gonna show you what we got. Full of the spice of life, we're stirring up the pot. We're cooking without looking. Cooking without looking. Yeah!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cooking Without Looking TV show Spring Holiday Show. I'm Alan Preston.
And I'm Sylvia Stinson Perez. And today I'm wearing my new Cooking Without Looking apron. It has these nice little pockets so you can tuck stuff in, and it's really nice fabric that can be wiped off. And if you want one and you want to support Cooking Without Looking, it's just $55 at cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com, and you click on the PayPal link.
Okay, Sylvia, it's good to have you back with us again this month. I know that you went to Honduras last month. Tell us a little bit about your trip, if you would.
It was an amazing experience. I spent 10 days with a group called Share Foundation and a delegation to Honduras, and we traveled across the country, meeting people, talking to people, learning about the challenges there. And a really cool thing is I got to spend 3 days at a Center for Independent Living working with a group of people with visual impairment from teenagers up, and taught them lots of different skills. And one of those was how to cut safely and eat properly to make them feel more confident. So it was an amazing trip, and I'm continuing to do some train the trainer work with individuals who expressed interest in becoming instructors.
Wow, that sounds like it was a very culturally and educational and exciting trip. And now we'll enrich our viewers with another episode of Cooking Without Looking TV show.
And today we're celebrating the holidays of spring. I'm loving the spring weather. And no matter what holiday you and your family celebrate, food always brings us together.
Yes, it does. And today we welcome Benjamin Keeley from the nonprofit Wisdom for the Blind. And he will be preparing a special French shrimp sandwich.
Well, thank you very much. How's everyone doing?
Great. Great. Wait, Ben.
Hang on, Ben.
We're also going to be welcoming Shawn from AI for the Blind, and he's going to be preparing a cornbread pie. Alan.
And just remember that all of us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show are blind or visually impaired. Sylvia?
Let's get the party started.
On the Cooking Without Looking Spring Holiday Edition. And today we welcome Ben Keeley from the nonprofit Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated, but I know you don't always say the incorporated. Welcome, Ben.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry I jumped in there ahead of you.
No problem.
Well, I appreciate being invited on the show. My name is Ben Keeley. I'm the executive director of Wisdom for the Blind. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing wisdom to all of our brothers and sisters in the military, and also to the youth that are dealing with the same challenges as vision impairment and totally blindness. And it's a great opportunity to come in here and talk to you about one of my favorite recipes.
Well, first of all, Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself and your trip through blindness.
Well, I lost my eyesight probably about 25 years ago. It slowly went away, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was gone. And it turns out that it was all caused by Agent Orange when I was serving in the military, and it just caught up to me. So what I have is called diabetic retinopathy, which basically destroyed the retinas. And I was driving along one day, and I just lost the eyesight, and made it possible to pull over to the side of the road, call a friend, and they took me to an eye clinic, and we went there, and they basically did all kinds of things. They were able to save most of the left eye. I can only see the big E, and the right eye is totally shot. But it ties in with other issues that I've been having, all because of the Agent Orange in the military.
Wow. You were in Vietnam?
No, I was right after Vietnam. I served in Guam. Guam was the depot. So when Vietnam came down, all the landing craft, all the gunboats and everything were sent over to Guam. And Guam was where they staged all the bombers and cleaned it all up. And I was on the police force over there. And part of my job was walking in all the mud where all that stuff was. But it was.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for your service in the military.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Ben, tell us what you're going to make for us today.
Well, I'm going to be going over a recipe. It comes from North Carolina, the Cape Fear River, and it's basically called garlic shrimp bread. And it's one of my most favorite recipes, and I learned about it on a little restaurant on the Cape Fear River, and I learned how to make it, and now I've taught my daughter how to make it. She does a little better than I do because she doesn't have an opportunity to put in the spices, but I still do a pretty darn good job at it, and it's a great little, some people use an appetizer, some people mix it up with a Caesar salad and serve it as an entree. But it's a great little recipe, great little meal.
I'm a little curious. Did you learn this recipe before or after you lost your eyesight?
Before.
Before, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now.
You've been making it a long time then.
Yeah, a long time. So now sometimes I put a little bit too much red pepper and a little too much garlic, but it's still darn good. So.
Okay. So show us how you do this.
Well,
tell us how.
We're going to take it a little different. I don't read instructions real well, apparently, but we'll find out on today's TV show. I'm not the only one that didn't read well on the instructions. But I was supposed to prepare it for you, and I didn't catch the part where I was supposed to cook it for you. So we're going to be talking about it, and I would hope that all your listeners out here would have the opportunity to try that recipe and make it and taste it for yourselves. But it's a great recipe. So, ready to get started?
All right. Tell us about your recipe and how you put it all together.
All right. So you're going to start off. I'm just going to go over the ingredients first, and then we'll start going through the steps. So you're going to need a loaf of the frozen bread. I like the Sara Lee or the Petridge Farm frozen garlic bread. Those two do a great job. You need to have a little, about a pound of shrimp, deveined and peeled. Then you're going to need to have a little mozzarella cheese, a little mayonnaise, a little mustard, one lime, or a lemon, depending on how you say it, but the green one. We'll just call it the green one.
That's a lime.
That's a lime to me too, but people say it's a lemon.
The same to me.
Some people
but
call
they
it
don't
lemon.
Taste the same.
So I like lemonade and lime on my fish. So, so you're gonna need to get a lime. You're gonna need to get some minced garlic, some red pepper, and a little bit of cilantro. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off, and we're gonna wash the shrimp and make sure it's deveined, de-peeled, and you're gonna put it in a bowl and just stage it for temporarily, because we're gonna use that bowl and we're gonna use the shrimp. One other ingredient I didn't mention is a stick of butter. Butter is always the cook's best friend there. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take a frying pan and you're going to put that stick of butter. Half a stick is probably good. Unless you're like me, I like lots of butter, but a half a stick is good. And then you're going to put in 3 tablespoons of minced garlic and stir that up. And then what you're going to do is you put, I forgot to tell you, a package of mushrooms. Rinse the mushrooms off first, make sure that they're nice and clean. At the same time, you're going to wash your hands, make sure that's all clean, ready to start touching the food. And you're going to put those mushrooms in with the butter and the garlic, and you're going to stir that all up, and then get that butter all melted and ready to go. Then what you're going to do is you're going to dump the shrimp inside the garlic butter with the mushrooms, and you're going to stir it up. You don't want to cook it all the way. You want to cook it about halfway, because we're going to do that at the same time. While
Say, Ben, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
The shrimp, is that pre-cooked or is that raw?
It's raw right now, we're just doing the first stage, and that's a good question. We don't want it to go all the way. You want to keep some of that pink in there, because we're going to finish it off when it's all together. So just cook it like halfway. Don't remember, you cook shrimp too much, it starts to get rubbery.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure it's basted in the butter and the garlic, and kind of like sauteed, but don't saute it all the way through.
So literally like a minute or two.
Yeah, no more than that.
Yep.
Exactly. Yes. And then at the same time, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And what you want to do is you want to put that garlic bread in there, open face. And all we're going to do is we're just going to make it a little crispy so the sauce doesn't drain through the bread. So once you get that off, you want to take that shrimp off the oven, pour that garlic butter, the garlic, and the mushrooms all into that bowl that you were staging, and just let it sit for a few minutes. Then what we're going to do is, once that bread is, a little ready to go, it's a little firm, not too frozen yet. You don't want to overcook it, but just a little. You're going to go ahead and take that out. Make sure you use your cooking gloves so you don't burn yourself, and lay that on your countertop there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour a little of that mozzarella shredded cheese that you had over both sides, so all the bread is covered. And then you're going to put that back in just for 2 or 3 minutes, just to melt the base of that, so it doesn't go all over the place. So everybody's doing good so far?
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good.
Great, I'm getting
Sounding
hungry.
good.
So now what you're going to do is you're going to take that bread out. And now we're going to prepare the shrimp. The shrimp's set for a little bit. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put about 2 or 3 spoons of mayonnaise in there. And you're going to take some brown mustard. I forgot to tell you that brown mustard. Squirt some of that in there. And then the red pepper. Now you're going to stir all that shrimp up in that lovely sauce that we're making. And that's the key to it. That gives you that little Louisiana taste and a little Cape Fear taste to it all there. And you're going to make sure all the shrimp are coated with that. And then you're going to slowly take the spoon and put those shrimp nice and tight on your garlic bread. So once you get that in there, I always cheat. I put a little of the leftover sauce on there. And that's why you baste that bread so it doesn't get soggy. But that sauce is very nice. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put another layer of that mozzarella cheese in there, put it on top of the shrimp, and then we're going to put that cilantro right on top of that. Cilantro is always a great seasoning when you're cooking. I love cooking with cilantro. Mm-hmm. So remember, your sauce has mayonnaise, mustard, and red pepper. You're going to mix all that up and then put the shrimp in there, and then the shrimp you're going to go ahead and lay on the garlic bread. Once you get that all done, we're going to put the second layer of mozzarella on there, and then the cilantro. And now we're going to go ahead and put that in the oven, and we're going to finish the cooking time that's recommended on the sheet of the garlic bread. And this is the reason that we don't cook that shrimp all the way, because we're going to finish it up and make that shrimp nice and good. Too much of that time on there, it starts to get a little chewy. So You want to watch it and make sure that shrimp cooks, through, and that mozzarella cheese melts on top of that, and the cilantro adds into that. My recommendation while you're cooking that is to grab a little Caesar salad, and it goes good with a little Caesar salad. And what we normally do is get like a big pizza tray, put the salad in the middle, and then we're going to cut that garlic bread when we get it out into fourths. And it makes a nice little display to put on the table, great appetizer, a party mix or whatever, or a main course. So we use it all the way. So once that's done, you're going to go ahead and take it out, cut it up, put it on the tray with the salad, and voila, you had the Cape Fear garlic bread.
Sounds great.
It is a great meal. I can eat that 7 days a week. It's one of my favorites. And
So you mentioned, Ben, you mentioned having some little trouble with the spices. So here's a couple little things you can do. Number one, you can shake the red pepper into your hand, and so you know how much you have. But you could also just use a measuring spoon, the little measuring spoons, and all those little spice containers open. Just open it and get out the amount you want. That way you don't end up with more than you want or even less than you want. You end up with what you want.
yeah, that's some great news for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to put it in my hand and then I just pinch it out and put it on there. I have a tendency sometimes to over salt and stuff, and I don't like that. But you'll find that garlic bread is a great little appetizer or a great meal, and that's one of my favorite meals. And I appreciate you letting me share that with you.
I bet that garlic bread is fantastic. And
Yeah.
Sylvia and Ben, when I go to a restaurant and I decide I want to put a little bit of salt on something after I taste it, I always put the salt in my hand first because I never know how fast it's going to come out of that salt shaker in the restaurant. Mine at home, I know. The one in the restaurant, I don't.
Yep.
That's a good tip. That's a real good tip. Thank you very much, Ben.
I appreciate it.
Let's see. Wisdom for the blind.
That's correct.
Again, give us your contact information.
And tell us about Wisdom for the Blind.
Well, I would love to share a little bit of stuff because we do a lot of great things. So, give you a little background story. So, my founder and good friend, his name is Doug Cram. We were sitting in the rehab center in West Palm Beach, and we were learning different tools to make our lives a little easier. I was learning the OrCam at the time. He was learning something else. He was in the Army, so maybe he was learning coloring books. We're not sure. But that's just joking. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
We rag each other. I was in the Navy. He was in the Army. But we noticed one thing, and that's getting the knowledge. If you're a youth, if you're an adult, or a military person that's blind or disabled, finding the different resources is always hard. We didn't know about you guys until we were introduced to you by another friend. So it's hard to understand all the great programs and assets that are available to blind and vision impaired people. So we came up with Wisdom for the Blind. We're sharing wisdom to all those that are blind or vision impaired. And we don't consider ourselves a membership like, NFB or ACB or anything like that. We consider ourselves a digital magazine. So every month we put out a newsletter, which is pretty awesome. Talks about a lot of great things that's happening, not only in the fields of blindness and vision impairment, but all around the world. At the same time, we have different programs. One program is called Feel to See. And I just want to mention this for a second. Just because you can't see doesn't mean you can't feel, because as we all know, our other senses get real strong. So we do some great things. We took 40 people out to see the space launch of Artemis 1, and everybody was amazed because you could feel and you can smell and everything else. And just like if you're sighted or you close your eyes and you feel all these things, you can still see. And that's what gives our subscribers the opportunity. So we had the Feel to See events, and we do things like Feel to See, deep sea fishing. On May 2nd and May 8th, we're going out of Clearwater and out of Fort Lauderdale. Totally free to anybody that's vision impaired, and you can bring a caregiver. We just took some guys to the Gator National drag races. Again, you hear it, you smell it, you can see it. And that's what Fearless is all about. And then our one big event that we do every year is our Forum at Sea. So we work very tightly with Carnival Cruise Lines. And every year we go on a different cruise somewhere out of the United States. This year we're going out of Baltimore to Bermuda. Last year we went out of Miami to Mexico. And during that cruise, we teach 25 different classes. This year, Mr. Jack Chen, he's a lawyer. He learned his trade at Harvard, totally blind. And it just shows that you can do whatever you want to put your heart to. So we have our forum, we have our Field of Sea events, and then we do 18 different podcasts every month. And you get all that information on our newsletter. So if you're interested in joining, just write to info@4tv.org. And I really appreciate you letting me talk to that.
Ben, it sounds like you have a very exciting project on your hands there.
Well, we try.
And for those of you in our audience, you can find Ben's recipe and information, I expect, on our website at www.cookingwithoutlooking.wordpress.com. Ben, oh yeah, you just gave us our contact information, and that recipe sounds absolutely wonderful. Love to try it one day.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me and letting me spread the wisdom to you guys.
All right. Thank you again, Ben. Sylvia, it's up to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Ben. And I will tell y'all, I got the newsletter from Wisdom for the Blind, and it is jam-packed with great info.
Thank you very much.
And so now we're going to welcome Shawn Keen from AI for the Blind, which I subscribe to on Facebook.
Hello.
Shawn, welcome. Tell us
Hi,
about yourself.
Thanks for having me. Y'all can hear me all right?
We can.
Good deal. Okay. So my name's Shawn. I'm from Texas. Although I've spent so much time in Florida in the last 2 years, I think it might be a future home someday. So I was born with glaucoma about 50 years ago, and I've always been blind, or I was born with a little bit of vision, but growing up, I've been blind. So I've had this since birth, and that's a different experience for somebody than having blindness con later on in life. And my favorite joke is when people say, "Have you been blind all your life?" And I can say, "Not yet."
Good point.
And I spent probably the first part of my career working in blindness rehab. I used to work for a nonprofit teaching folks that were new to blindness, like how to live blind, how to use technology, and how to live independently and all that kind of stuff. So it's been neat. I've got to work with some really good independent living teachers and learn some cooking tricks from them. And I'm really excited to be here to talk to y'all about this recipe that was really came up by accident.
Well, you want to go ahead and tell us about the recipe?
Yeah, and I'm going to be talking about the recipe because, like Ben, I didn't get the memo on the cooking part, and that was my fault. But I can tell a really good story about this recipe because back in 2017 or 2018, I kind of went through this cooking phase, and I like to cook, but at this time it was like every night or every weekend I was always in the kitchen trying to make something. And I remember I remember that we had cornbread and some other things, and I was like, I have an idea. So I kind of whipped it together, and it came out really good. And then I later on went and looked it up online and found out it was actually a recipe. It's called Cornbread Pie, and it's really simple. And the best part of it is, if you know how to make cornbread out of the box, I mean, it's really simple. Um, all you really need, and one thing I want to add here is that you can modify this to your any way you want to. I use ground beef and taco seasoning in the mix, and basically you brown the ground beef, you mix in the taco seasoning and get that all um, mixed up well, and then once that's cooked, once that's browned, um, you basically throw it all together with the cornbread mix. And at the time, the first time I made it, I used a Dutch oven. And honestly, I think that's where it comes out the best, is one of those cast iron Dutch ovens that I don't have anymore, but that was my favorite cooking pot. And so, if you want to use taco seasoning or you want to use something else, I mean, you can. You can put beans in this. I mean, we've made it with ground beef and beans, and um, once you brown the beef and you mix in whatever else you're going to cook with it, you just put it in like a loaf pan with the cornbread mix and cook it for about 30 minutes at 350. And the cornbread will kind of like rise up and just take over the rest of the filling. It just turns into a pie, and you take it out of the oven and cut it into pieces and probably let it cool off a little bit. But it's really simple. And
Shawn, I
so
have a question. So are you thinking like one of these Jiffy cornbread mixes and you go ahead and add the milk and the egg to it and then you mix it in, or?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you get the Jiffy cornbread mix, I mean, keep it easy. Don't
Uh-huh.
make it too complicated, and then mix the milk and egg with it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of that.
Mm-hmm. That is easy. Okay.
That
Yeah.
sounds delicious.
It kind of does, yeah.
And
Cool.
surprisingly, Sylvia, you mentioned AI for the blind, and
Mm-hmm.
that's my Facebook group. And so for the past 4 years, I've kind of been this AI guru or computer nerd or something, or whatever people want to call me is fine. I'll answer to it as long as there's
I
food
call it
involved.
AI obsessed. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll
You've
take that.
led a movement of people who are blind becoming super obsessed with AI. So
Well,
super informative.
2 years ago, I started AI for the Blind on Facebook, and it wasn't even that at the time, and now it's a group with nearly 9,000 members,
Yeah.
and it's really evolved. There's a podcast as well called AI for the Blind. But if anybody uses AI, and you want to cook this recipe, you can go to any AI model and ask it to give you the recipe for cornbread pie, and it will.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
if you can't find it anywhere else, go to AI and ask it how to make cornbread pie, and you'll be set.
Okay, well, I didn't know you could use AI to get recipes. I use Alexa all the time, but now look, another fabulous source for recipes.
You have to be careful because sometimes the portion, like I were talking about with the seasonings and pouring seasoning,
Uh-huh.
some of the seasoning recommendations, you're like, that's gonna give somebody a heart attack.
That cannot be right. Cool. And so supposedly you have some great ideas around transportation and getting people to Social Security offices. So tell us
Yeah,
more about that.
a couple. There's a lot of things been going on in the world,
Mhm.
especially in the United States, and
No.
no, I know nobody. No, I'm sure nobody knew that. And I woke up one morning and I was scrolling through Facebook, and people were talking about the different changes coming to Social Security, and what are we going to do and all this stuff. And I thought, man, if some of these nonprofits really want to put their money where their mouth is, why doesn't somebody come up with a program to help people who are disabled or blind or whatever your disability is to get to the Social Security office? And I called it something. What did I call that? Um, and it wasn't a joke. I wasn't making fun or anything, but
Mhm.
it kind of was. I made a jingle out of the idea. It was the gosh, it's an acronym. I can't believe I can't think of what it is right now. But the idea is to either get volunteers or nonprofits to basically fund a program to help people get to Social Security, because that's going to make a big difference when
Mhm.
somebody lives out in the middle of the country and they need to get into town.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sure, that'll
I
be
mean, I
challenging.
feel like you can do this for anything. So some of the things that I've heard people do, which I love, somebody told me about how they created a kind of a Facebook group, but it wasn't. It's like a WhatsApp group, and they literally went out to their network and said, "Hey, sometimes I need transportation." And I feel like I go around and I ask everybody, um, and I have to ask everybody. And they said,
Yeah,
if you're willing to be on a list of people that I could just reach out and go, hey, next Tuesday I need a ride to blah 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 blah, and you're in my group, and I'll just send a message to that group so you don't feel like, whoever's in it, if they're available, yeah. But if they don't feel like, then the people who can't or don't want to that day, they don't feel like they have to say no. So I
yeah.
thought that was a brilliant idea. And it's just like having a group of people who have already said, hey, sometimes I'll be available to help you.
Maybe, and this is how my mind works. I mean, you're talking about that, and I think, ooh, we could make an app and call it "Be My Ride."
I love it.
Maybe I'll work on that.
Okay, I love it. Be my ride. Shawn, tell us how to find the Facebook group and to contact you.
Okay, so the best way is really just to search for AI for the blind, and you'll find me because I post religiously there like all the time.
Hmm.
So if you want to find me, search for AI for the blind. It's a group right now. It's only on Facebook. I want to move it to other platforms. I want to have other platforms, but to be honest, blind people aren't on every platform. There's some platforms that are better for blind people than others. So, and it's running a group with 9,000 people is actually a lot more work than people think. And but we got a great team. My wife helps me a lot. I mean, we have 9 moderators, and we try to keep a handle on things. But AI for the Blind is the best way to find us on Facebook. And there's also an AI for the Blind podcast, which is really just about inspiring people to learn how to use AI. It's a kind of a podcast demo of all the amazing things you can do with AI if you spend 30 minutes a day learning how to use it, because it's not hard. It's just all normal regular language. Um,
But
but
there's
if
a
you
learning curve for sure.
there there is anything, but
And a
this is
teaching curve. I think that's the cool thing is you're also teaching the AI how to
yeah,
best help
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's called prompting, AI
Okay,
prompting.
prompting. Pardon
Yeah,
me.
you can. I mean, there's just so much. There's so much of a rabbit hole on that. But um, AI for the blind is the best way to find me. And if you want to reach out to me, find me on Facebook. My name's Shawn Keen. The first name is Shawn. Last name is Keen, Keen. And I'm just going to give out my number because I always give it out, and it's just easier than giving out my email address. So if anybody wants to text me with an AI question or make an appointment or anything, I'd be glad to talk to anybody about AI. My number is 817-659-9353. And write it down, send me a text, and see if I can help you.
Awesome.
Shawn, artificial intelligence sounds wonderful, but I'm still working on real intelligence.
Me too.
Which is why you need wisdom for the blind too.
Yes.
That's why I didn't cook. That's why I didn't cook on the show today, because of my intelligence.
But I just do want to clarify. Renee sent a script.
She did. She
Yes.
People have to read it though.
did. Yeah.
Well, sometimes we stray from our script just a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Shawn. That
Thank
was
y'all.
great. Now, Renee, tell us who has won the Any Day Gourmet Microwave Cookware Contest.
All right.
We need a drum roll.
Yeah.
Drum roll. Yeah, we need a drum roll.
We need an AI drum roll. No.
Okay, let me see. Let me see here. I'm closing my eyes. The first one I pick out is
Sylvia Perez.
Deborah K63 at AOL.com. Is that?
Oh, that's me. That's Debbie.
Hey, and my older friend.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Deborah, just email me. Do you have my email? I can email you, and I just need your mailing address, and they will send it right over to you. It's I think it's like 8 pieces, and it's
Oh, wow.
$160.
Oh, wow. I'm so happy.
Congratulations! Yay!
And we're happy
Thank
for
you.
you too. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, Ben. And thank you very much, Shawn. You were both wonderful today. And
Thank
thank
you.
all of
Thank
you
you.
in our audience for joining us on the Cooking Without Looking Spring Holiday Edition. Our audience is the most important people to us. And if you'd like today's recipes, as well as any past recipes or information about either Ben or Shawn, please go to our website at, here we go, www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com. Sylvia?
And the TV part of that address is important. Otherwise, you get something else. And
Interesting.
so if you want to watch today's show again and be completely amused, or past shows, you can go to the YouTube channel.
And you can also check out our Cooking Without Looking podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere where you get your favorite podcasts. We're also available on all Alexa-enabled devices and the Victor Reader. Sylvia?
Awesome. And you can donate to Vision World Foundation to help us on the mission to change the way we see blindness. Just go to the website again, www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com, and click on the link that is the PayPal link. And for more information, you can call Renee at 305-200-9104.
And I certainly hope everyone will look for our next show in May. Thank you so much for being with us today. On behalf of myself, Sylvia Stinson Perez, and Renee Rentmeester, and all of us at the Cooking Without Looking TV show and Vision World Foundation. Just a little tribute to Annette. Bye for now.
And don't forget
Thanks
to
so
order
much.
your cool apron. I'm showing to you again. Bye.
Bye for now.
We get to hear the fun song again. I love the jingle.
You wanna see what we do best? We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight to make something good tonight. We're all in the kitchen, we're gonna show you what we got. Full of the spice and lime, we're stirring up the pot. We're cooking without looking. Cooking without looking. Yeah!
Bye.